Okay, everybody, it is time for me to preview Bound for Glory 2012, TNA's biggest pay-per-view of the year. And I have to say, for all the praise that I've thrown towards TNA for improving on pay-per-views and generally improving their shows, at least compared to what they were, a year ago or 2 years ago, I'm not really feeling it for Bound for Glory this year. That's kind of sad, because like I said, they've gotten so much better on pay-per-view, and now this one kind of feels like, for their biggest pay-per-view of the year, I thought they were going to come with something a little bit bigger, but let's get into the card just to explain what I'm talking about. X Division title match, Rob Van Dam versus Zema Ion. Very rushed. The X Division has nothing going for it right now because there are no bodies in the X Division. They basically said that on Impact this week. I guess they'll have something when Sorensen comes back to face Ion, but other than that, there's really just not a whole lot going on storyline-wise or just nothing even closely resembling depth in the X Division right now. And Rob Van Dam just kind of got put into this spot just because somebody had to be. And we got to use Rob Van Dam, so there you go. And I wish that after they put that distinction on the X Division title where the champion gets to challenge the world champion every year at Destination X, I wish they had made the X Division title more of a heavily sought-after thing. And that should have been RVD's motivation for going after it, where it's like, all right, I lost the Bound for Glory series, and I'm kind of on the outside looking in as far as the world title goes. How do I get back into the world title picture? I'll win the X Division title and play to a division that plays to my more high-flying style, where I can actually, fit in, and I'll use that to springboard into my world title shot next July. That would work, or at least that would make sense to me. At least I would understand what they're going for. But they just kind of did this on the Go Home show for Impact, just one segment dedicated to it, and it just kind of, it just feels kind of rushed. I guess Ion would go. I guess Rob Van Dam would go over just because he's Rob Van Dam, but I don't know. I don't really care. That's part of the problem here. I just don't really care about the match all that much. Then you have the Knockouts title, which will be Brooke Tessmacher. Again, somebody in TNA watched the Superman movie in the 70s and thought that name was funny, versus Tara. And one angle that they've really overused on this show is the friends turned enemy thing. This is one of them. And again, I'm just kind of like, don't really care all that much. Especially since there's one example of the friends turned enemy thing that's much better. And the Knockouts division right now is just kind of trying to find their place. They need a few more bodies in there. They need to display a little bit more depth and need to do something with a little bit more spark in it, because right now there's not a whole lot going on with it. I guess Tara wins just because they've actually put something into her character. So I would guess give it to Tara. Television title, we've got Samoa Joe versus Magnus. Again, friends turned enemies. And this is really like a half-assed version of Rude versus Storm because, whereas Beer Money was the star tag team attraction, one of the best tag teams in TNA history, I would probably only put Beer Money behind America's Most Wanted, and there are a lot of people that would disagree with me, so that tells you how good Beer Money was. Samoa Joe and Magnus, though, they were just kind of the guys that held the tag titles because nobody else was around to hold them. And that's really all they were. And so I'm not really digging this whole, we used to be tag team partners, now we're enemies type of thing. It's like, who cares? And Joe lost a lot of steam after the world title run in 2008 and has had a hard time getting back on track since then. And Magnus, while I like Magnus in a lot of presentation ways, I think he's got a good look. I think he carries himself well in the mic. And I think he's like a natural for TV, which a lot of young guys have trouble adjusting to. The problem, though, is that he hasn't really found anything that really clicks to really get him to stand out. And in the ring, based on what I've seen from him in the ring, he's okay at best. So he's had some trouble standing out. And maybe this will be his breakout moment. I don't know. I'm going to pick Joe to win, although, again, I don't really care. And I have to bash TNA for the whole Devon situation. How do you let Devon walk out of the company with the TV title without dropping it? I don't know how that happens. I'm just sitting there scratching my head going, How did that even happen? That makes no sense. You have a champion under contract negotiations. Don't you take the title off of him first, have him drop the belt, and then, have the contract negotiations go wherever they go beyond that point? But, whatever. That's the TV title. And then we got this match I'm actually going to praise them for. Joey Ryan versus Al Snow, with Joey Ryan getting a contract if he wins. Now, they've put a lot into establishing Joey Ryan as a character. I mean, we're talking like 5-6 months here of him just invading the show, mimicking the Occupy 99 thing, interrupting the gut check segments, which, he's been the best part of the gut check segments. And and it's really funny that all the guys that they've brought on, whether they get the contract or not, Joey Ryan's been on TV more than any of them, and he was the first one to get rejected. I think that's really funny. But, I really do look forward to seeing him on TV, and they've done a really good job of establishing him. And I hope they have a plan for him beyond this point. I'm usually not for old guys getting big pay-per-view spots. I don't know what kind of shape Al Snow will be in. But as long as they keep the match relatively short and Ryan goes over, I think it'll be okay. And Ryan should go over. And, I talked about they need some more bodies for the X Division. There's a guy who would fit in with the X Division just fine. So hopefully they have a plan with him beyond this point, because he's really, it's really impressive, actually, how they've put so much into just establishing him. I mean, he's one of the most interesting characters on the show, and he's only had one match prior to this. So, Joey Ryan wins here, and then hopefully they've got something good on the horizon for him beyond that. Then we have the tag team titles. It'll be Angle and AJ versus champions Daniels and Kazarian versus Chavo and Hernandez in a triple threat. I'm glad that they just didn't do Angle and AJ versus Kaz and Daniels again. And I've talked on and on about how they've just pounded Daniels and AJ into the fucking ground. I mean, for fuck's sake, just end it. But hopefully this will be the end of it. I'm not going to hold my breath, though. And I think this is going to be like the Spot Festy kind of match on the show. And I think they've done a fairly decent job of establishing this makeshift team of Hernandez and Chavo as like a contender-worthy team, at least. And I think, Hernandez being the kind of guy that he is, it's going to lend itself to doing some more creative things with AJ and stuff like that. And, everyone else, AJ, Angle, Chavo, Daniels, Kazarian, they're all like great athletes, great workers. So you're going to get like a really super high-paced, fast-paced, high-flying, action-packed kind of match. So I think this is going to be a really good match to have on the show. I would even consider opening up with it and just let them tear the house down and go crazy. Who wins? I would probably keep it on Daniels and Kazarian, just because the tag team division could still use a little work and get some more teams in there. And I see no reason to take the belts off the established champions that are kind of running at least moderately well. So, I say stick with Daniels and Kazarian. Then we have the Aces and Eights, two members of Aces and Eights versus Bully Ray and Sting. And if Aces and Eights wins, they're allowed into the Impact Zone. Okay, I think we all expected some kind of match like this. I wish they had done something a little bit bigger. Not necessarily Lethal Lockdown, but maybe a 10-man tag or something like that, just to get a few more bodies in there and take advantage of the fact that Aces and Eights has so many guys in their group. But I'll give them credit. They've actually done a good job with this mystery angle of keeping me guessing who's behind it all. And hopefully, like I've said before, hopefully they have a good solution on who is behind it and what they want to do with it. Because if it's... I know it was Bischoff in that one segment that they did, but I hope it's a red herring. If it's Bischoff, that would be lame. If it's Garrett Bischoff, that would be even more lame. If it's Brooke Hogan, that would be lame. If it's Jeff Jarrett, that would be... we've kind of seen Jarrett as the bad guy, so that'd be kind of lame. They could do Bully Ray turning on Sting, which I think a lot of people think is going to happen, but I kind of think that that's a red herring. So I don't know. We'll see. And I'm glad that they put Bully Ray in the spot, because I think in a lot of our minds, when Sting had to pick a tag partner, it was down to Bully Ray, Mr. Anderson, and Rob Van Dam. because they were like the three biggest guys that weren't on the card yet. And I think of those three, Bully Ray's by far the most interesting. He's the most entertaining character. He's really established himself as a great single star for the company. Never thought I would ever say that about Bubba Ray, but it's true. And so I'm glad that he's in this spot. Hopefully, and this will be a very storyline-driven match. I expect it to be very crazy. Kind of overbooked. Hogan will get involved, and the 20-some members of Aces and Eights will probably get involved. You'll probably get a bunch of reveals. Should be really good. So hopefully, as long as they have a good idea for who's in charge of it all and who's and what's going to go on there. So hopefully it's good. I even thought maybe they could do a Fight Club thing where Chris Park is kind of the Edward Norton personality, and Abyss would be the Brad Pitt personality, and he's both running the group and going against the group at the same time, even though two personalities at war with each other. I think that would be kind of funny, but also kind of interesting, and they could probably get something out of that. I don't know. Maybe Austin Aries is behind it as well. We'll see. Then we have Rude versus Storm in a street fight with King Mo as special guest enforcer. I guess I'm okay with King Mo being the guest enforcer, because it's kind of like Shamrock being the referee of Brett versus Austin. It's just you need somebody there to kind of control the anarchy, and they just got an outsider to do that. It's like, all right, I'll go with that. I think this is going to be the match of the night. I can't picture anything else not being... Excuse me. Excuse me, I'm sick. So, if you couldn't tell. But yeah, I think Rude and Storm is going to be the match of the night. I can't picture anything else quite having the energy that match does. That match, well, I'm kind of getting flashbacks to Harris and Storm and their Texas Death Match that they had. Excuse me. Which I think is one of the best matches in TNA history. I hope it turns out really well, because I think Rude and Storm can get it done. I think they have the best storyline. It's been over a year. Their matches are very good whenever they have had matches. And this is going to be like the burn-off, I think. I think Storm is finally going to get the win over Rude, and it's just going to be an excellent match. This is the one match on the show that I'm like super, super excited for. So hopefully it goes well. Because I think this is going to be the big thing. Now we have the main event. Austin Aries versus Jeff Hardy for the World Heavyweight title. I'm not feeling this at all. The last segment they did on Impact this week really felt like CM Punk Light. And before that, this feud had nothing. Well, it had nothing. It was just, hey, Jeff Hardy won the title shot because he sells merchandise, and we want him in that spot, and that's it. And, it kind of makes me wish, well, if they didn't have much of a plan for the main event, if this is what they were going to do with Aries as champion, I probably would have preferred they just done Rude versus Storm for the title, or even do Rude versus Storm versus Aries in a three-way. I don't know. I would have taken that. Find some way to finagle that outcome in there. But it's just, I'm not saying it'll be a bad match. I think Aries lately has been working well with just pretty much anybody he's put in there with. And Hardy typically works well when he's motivated and when he's in there with the right guy. So I think it'll be a good match. It's just there's not a whole lot of bite to it beyond just, hey, we've got two guys that typically have good matches, and they were in the main event. And Hardy sells merchandise, so there you go. But yeah, those are my feelings on Bound for Glory. Hopefully it turns out to be a really good show. Hopefully better than I'm making it sound like. Hopefully the Arizona crowd's great, because as we saw at Slammiversary, a great crowd can really make a show. As we saw at Lockdown, a bad crowd can really destroy a show. So we'll see. Hopefully that Phoenix crowd is really hyped up for Bound for Glory, and hopefully it turns out to be a really good show. I'm probably going to post a review of it sometime on Monday, so be on the lookout for that. And that's all I have for now, so enjoy your weekend.